Our panel of experts is here to break it all down. CPA Dan Geltrude, founding partner of Macro Trends Advisors, Mitch Rochelle, and former chief economist for the U.S. International Trade Commission, Peter Morici. This is like a Fox and Friends first financial all-star team. We're going to kick it off with Peter and pull up the competing economic plans. Take a look. The Trump plan, of course, includes tax cuts made permanent, cutting the capital gains tax, states deciding the minimum wage, and cutting payroll taxes. The Biden plan consists of repealing the Trump tax cuts, increasing capital gains tax, a $15 minimum wage, and a payroll tax for earners over $400,000. Peter, which plan should the average undecided voter want?
They should want the Trump plan, simply because although Biden won't raise taxes on folks that earn less than $400,000. The impact on economic growth will be so negative and profound, especially on startups and technology, that by the end of the decade, their household incomes will be down about 10%.
Interesting.
That's $6,500 a household. So, I mean, he gets you one way, he gets you another. It's a terrible plan.
All right. Mitch, next question to you. We sent Carly Shimkus to hit the streets to talk to voters about the economy. Here's what they had to say.
The thing about the economy is that my 401k looks great. I have no issues with investment.
There's no equity. There's just no sense of fairness.
I think that the Trump economy has been very good for the big businesses, but has completely forgotten about small businesses.
Mitch, I want to focus on that last line. Completely forgotten about small business, good for big business. You understand the big business world better than almost anybody. How do you respond to that claim?
Well, you know what? I don't think it's terribly fair. The fact of the matter is, one of the things that was in the Trump tax plan from several years ago was actually very pro-small business. They gave preferential tax treatment to sole proprietors, to people who had partnerships, which are very much the foundation for small business. So I think what people have to realize is it takes time for tax cuts to work their way through the system and create jobs. But if you look at the job growth during the 3.5 years prior to the shutdowns, they were very strong and driven by small business. So I think small business is the way to prosperity. And I think as we try to figure out a way to stimulate small business growth, if Congress can get their act together, it's going to be, again, on the backs of small businesses.
Great segue to Dan. Dan, you're our resident bean counter, so you get the bean counting question. Critics are going to say the COVID response was expensive, still is expensive, and we need to raise taxes to pay for it. How do you respond?
I think that you have to look at first cutting back on the spending. If you're going to increase taxes, at least do it in a responsible way so that you know that the dollars that are going back to the government are being used properly. Right now, the government is spending too much money on pet projects and special interests, and I think that's what people really have an issue with. Our debt is ballooning, which is not good news. So until we get some really financial wherewithal in Congress, I don't see how Congress can raise taxes and possibly think this is a good thing, that we're going to tax our way to prosperity. The way to prosperity is more jobs, which obviously then increases the tax base.
All right, we're going to do a quick lightning round here. The topic, looking at the early voting, there's like 60+ million people who voted already. I know you don't know a lot of undecided people in your community, so 15 seconds to each of you. Will the economy matter in the days leading up to the election, the 7 days we have between now and Election Day, in terms of changing the vote? Peter.
We have a vaccine in sight, and the reason we're seeing the Trump surge is because people are refocusing on the economy, and when they do that, they have more confidence in Mr. Trump than they do Mr. Biden. So I think it will make a difference. The question is, does Trump get there?
Mitch.
I think the economy is the number one issue. The one thing the president has done is he's sort of tied the stock market to the economy. So it's possible that many voters could look at the stock market as a proxy for the economy. But this Thursday, the GDP number comes out, and it's going to be very strong. And I hope that resonates with undecided voters.
Dan, take us home.
I think the economy always matters, and anything that happens in this last week that has an impact on people's perception of the economy, I don't know if anything will actually change, but if their perception changes, so does their vote.
You know, they always talk about the Chicago Bulls Big Three. They have nothing on you guys. Dan, Mitch, and Peter, we appreciate your time. Jillian, over to you.